So why am I awake? It's 2 in the morning, and I'm awake because they made a new Wrong Turn movie, and it's really important that I tell you about it because I am fired up. I don't even know how I'm going to go to sleep tonight. It turns out that it's kind of a reboot, so maybe they'll finally slip and fall and make a good one. No, absolutely not. So here's the lowdown if you're not familiar. The Wrong Turn series, it's a group of films about a clan of inbred hillbillies in the depths of West Virginia who prey on unsuspecting trespassers into their territory. It ran for 6 movies of varied quality, and when I say varied, I mean okay quality to really, really awful. If you watched my Wrong Turn timeline, you'll know that I'm not exactly a fan of these films, so a reboot was not on my top list of must-see movies. Enter Mike P. Nelson, not to be confused with the Satellite of Love's Michael J. Nelson. Mike P. Nelson made a splash a few years back with a movie called The Domestics, which I have not seen, but was pretty well regarded, and I guess they gave him the chance to create a new backwoods terror with this relaunch of the franchise. And yeah, it kinda sucks. For the first half of the movie, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect. It's a group of extremely broad stereotype characters heading into the woods together. There's like this sort of ham-fisted attempt at, I guess, social commentary by making sure that these characters in deep redneck land are an interracial couple, a gay couple, and this guy who's just that asshole character that every movie, I guess, just has to have for some reason. Up until this point, it's pretty typical and bland. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but it's nothing that's going to get you that riled up. But oh no, that part's coming because the plot kicks into high gear and everyone just fights for some reason. There's so much pointless drama, and there's a point in the middle of this movie in which a character is trapped in a chain, dragged into a hole, and then trussed up and carried by 2 assailants, and they've put a bag over his head. Now, after he fights back and he kills one of them, the rest of the group of teens literally have an argument about him killing someone for no reason. They actually say for no reason. The film then just goes into this whole, who's really the bad guy here? This whole thing that just doesn't work. And I don't know who we're supposed to root for here, since we barely get any character development for these people, and most of their interactions are intergroup bickering, so you kind of don't like any of them. And nothing is believable, and most of the choices that they make are just extremely frustrating. The head of the hillbilly tribe sports a salon hairstyle and facial hair trim that would just look just as home wearing a suit playing a banker. I mean, look at this guy. Does this look like someone who's been living in the middle of the woods his entire life with no contact with the outside world? Perfect teeth, clean fade, immaculate skin. I've actually been into the scarier parts of West Virginia, and trust me, there is no one that looks like this there. Did I mention that this movie is almost 2 hours long? Okay, so here's the point where I'm going to get into spoilers. So skip ahead if you don't want any. If you don't want this spoiled for you, just stop listening now. So, yeah, the movie doesn't even work under its own internal logic. There's a big deal made up in the first half about the Foundation not being all that bad, possibly, and they hold a trial for the kids because the kids murdered one of their people, and they may be backwards, but they're not evil. They're just, the ways are just misunderstood. But then Matthew Modine goes looking for his daughter, and they catch him, and they're just instantly like, no trial, we're going to burn out his eyes and lock him away for trespassing. LOL. Meanwhile, earlier in the movie, they were making such a huge ordeal out of how that they weren't going to hurt the other kid. They were just taking him back into civilization. But he was trespassing too. He was doing the same thing that Matthew Modine did. So what was the whole point of trying to moralize about this if you're not going to stick to it as part of your plot? And then don't even get me started on the character of Darius. He and Jen have been kept against their will at the Foundation for 6 weeks, and then she's escaping, and he decides that he wants to stay back and help them. These people killed 3 of his friends in front of his eyes and literally burned the eyes out of another one and tossed him underground. And after just 6 weeks, I guess he's so bought in that he wants to live with them forever now. Really? Really? They don't even show you any of the things that won him over. They just show him agreeing to be a part of their community, and then cut to 6 weeks later, and he's gone native to the point that he's now devoting his whole life to these people. This movie is seriously like someone saw Midsommar, and then they were like, hey, what if we tried to make this into a Wrong Turn movie? Sorta. And then someone else was like, yeah, but that's so artsy. We need to dumb it down. And then the first person was like, how much dumber? And then the second person just said, all of it. All of the dumber. I also want to momentarily go back to the beginning of this movie, because the thing that sets off all of these events in the first place is really stupid. Because as they're hiking, this gigantic tree trunk, this whole massive tree just starts rolling down the hill, coming after them. So they run down the hill to get away from it, and it kills one of their members, and it starts off everything and all the chaos and blah, 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 blah. And these characters all come from the Prometheus school of running away from things. First of all, they're in the woods in West Virginia. It's not like they're in a redwood forest. How big can this freaking tree be? Why are you running down? Just run to the left or to the right. It's a much smaller distance and a lot easier to clear than just down. And then prepare yourself for the dumbest freaking ending. The head of the Foundation shows up at their house undercover in a flannel shirt and jeans. You know, because he looks just like a regular suburban guy. This also implies that after saving his daughter, Matthew Modine didn't go to the authorities, and then they said nothing about the group of savages in the woods killing people. I guess they didn't have to explain to the authority what happened to her friends or anything. This is clearly several months later, because she's pregnant and several months pregnant, and I guess there was no follow-up, no investigation into the deaths of these people and the Darius missing. They just forgot it all, and everyone just went back to their lives without telling it. It's ridiculous. Just so you don't think it's all bad, there are 1 or 2 redeeming qualities. I did like the subversion of the old everyone in town is in on it thing that happens at the end here, and the fake out down ending that switches up during the credits was actually pretty cool. But trust me, I don't recommend sitting through an hour and 40 minutes in order to get to it. Spoilers end here, so if you skipped ahead, no more spoilers from this point on. Okay, so this movie was really awful. There just wasn't any reason to even call it Wrong Turn. It's not related to the series at all, except for the idea of, like, hiking in the woods and inbreds attacking you. But that doesn't have to be Wrong Turn. I mean, that's like 100 movies. So it's kind of clear that the name, it was just a cash-in. Not that I was clamoring for the return of the inbred mutant guys like Three Finger and such from the original movies, but hey, I don't know, maybe meet me halfway. Maybe have the inbred clan living in the woods with no contact with humans, not look like they just walked out of central casting. Maybe make them, I don't know, a little dirtier or something like that. Maybe make their teeth not perfect, because I don't imagine dental work is really that prevalent out in the middle of the woods. So anyway, there you have it. What do I rate this one? Let's go with 2 out of 5 doodads, because the acting's pretty believable. It's fine, and the film is shot well. It looks very nice. Everything looks very professional at all, but every single thing about the script and story just kills it. So please, Wrong Turn makers, stop. Just stop with these movies. I'm glad I got that off my chest. and now I'm going to bed. Good night.